Unlocking your miraculous awakening, 3 divine secrets revealed by Yogananda's prophetic vision in the quaint English village. A light unlike any other began to shine through the rolling hills. Margaret, a devout woman known for her unwavering faith, stood at the altar, her heart heavy with the fate of her beloved son, James. Battling a mysterious illness, he lay weak, a testament to the unseen struggles of life. The whispers among the villagers were rife. Can miracles truly happen? Yet Margaret knew. She felt it deep in her soul. Miracles were just waiting to burst forth. As she knelt in prayer, something extraordinary unfurled. A gentle breeze swept through the church, rustling the soft vibrance of the stained glass, bringing with it a warmth that melted the quiet despair. Suddenly, the atmosphere thickened with palpable energy, shimmering as if the heavens themselves were about to intervene. She felt a warm glow swell around her, whispering secrets meant only for her heart. 3 divine secrets emerged, beacons of hope gifted from the spirit of Yogananda. The first secret revealed itself, the power of collective faith. Margaret envisioned the entire village joined in fervent prayer. She could see them, hand in hand like beams of light, reaching toward the heavens. Their faith, united, had the strength to shift mountains. The words of their pastor echoed in her mind, urging them to pray with fervor, not just doubt. They would rise together. The second secret unraveled before her eyes. Healing transcends understanding. Complete joy invaded her heart as she saw James, radiant and whole, laughter spilling from his lips. It was as if love itself could breathe life back into him. How was it that this divine love could cleanse even the deepest wounds? But as visions flickered before her, a sliver of doubt pricked at her, a nagging thought in the depths of her heart. Was it possible for a simple prayer to combat the skepticism of reality? Yet, defiantly, she clutched the third secret tight. Hope is a powerful force, more vibrant than despair. It could awaken souls, igniting a flame where there once was none. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue with her heart swelling. Margaret gathered her prayer group that afternoon, recounting her revelations, her voice rising with fervor. Hope ignited in their hearts, a flame once flickering now roaring. Yet her doubts danced in the shadow, whispering whether they could truly believe in a miracle. As she knelt again before the altar, surrendering her fears, a clarity enveloped her spirit like a warm embrace. Calling upon their beloved saints, she poured out her heart, her voice trembling yet unwavering. Suddenly, an electric stillness fell over the church as her humble words filled the air. Caught in the current of divine expectation, the villagers began to murmur prayers of their own, eyes widening as a warmth spread through the room. Just as despair threatened to claim her, Margaret felt that same warmth envelop her, cascading in a vibrant rush through her veins. At that moment, hope and skepticism clashed, the village teetering on the edge of belief. What would happen next? Would faith triumph in this intricate dance of divine and human? As Margaret gazed upward, tears of joyful anticipation streaming down her cheeks, she could almost see the heavens parting, yearning to reveal what awaited them all. As the last echoes of prayer lingered in the church, a hush fell over the congregation. Eyes that were once filled with doubt now sparkled with a renewed sense of faith. Margaret felt this collective energy surge like a tide around her, and in that moment, something profound shifted within her. Let us not waver. She called out with a voice that seemed to carry the strength of thousands. Let us raise our voices and our hearts. We are joined in this sacred moment, witnessing the power of our unity. The villagers nodded, their hands clasping tighter, as if channeling their hopes towards the heavens. The air thickened with expectancy. It was as if the church itself held breath, waiting for a divine response. Margaret closed her eyes, soaking in the warmth that enveloped her once more. It was a gentle reminder of the secrets she had unveiled. The first secret is the power of collective faith. She exclaimed. Together, we shall rise. Together, we shall heal. With each word, she felt the whispers of something greater. The walls of the church, filled with echoes of past prayers, seemed to shimmer with shimmering lights. The stained glass windows glowed brighter, casting vibrant colors on the devoted faces around her. Elder Thomas, a beloved figure in the village, stepped forward, his hands raised in prayer. We must remember the second secret. Healing transcends all understanding. We must trust in the divine love that flows through us. His voice trembled with sincerity, igniting a fire within the hearts of those present. Every voice joined in unison, a harmony of pleading and gratitude. Heal, Lord. Heal. Echoed through the very fabric of the building. They prayed not only for James but for each other, for the village, for the world outside those sacred walls woven with hope and love. Yet, as they prayed fervently, Margaret felt a shift again, a tugging sensation in her heart, a reminder of the burdens they carried. Doubts crept in, whispering dangerously. Was it enough? Could their faith truly illuminate the path before them, dispel fears, and weave miracles? The soft sound of a childless laughter broke through her thoughts, causing her to open her eyes. Amidst the fervent prayer stood little Lucy, a child from the village whose innocence radiated pure joy. With a glow that was almost ethereal, she clapped her hands, surprising everyone. Will James dance with me again? She asked, her bright eyes shining with expectation. A wave of affection surged through the villagers. This was the essence of faith, the belief that carried innocence and hope untainted by skepticism. In that moment, Margaret saw the faces of the villagers transform as they connected with the true meaning of healing. It wasn't merely about physical restoration, it was about the joy that faith could bring, the love that love could foster. As they continued to pray, Margaret sensed a change in the atmosphere, almost electric, as if the heavens themselves were leaning in closer. The air became charged with possibility, yet it was filled with uncertainty. Each heart was a tender bud waiting to bloom into a miracle. What if, she murmured softly, what if today is the day? The villagers leaned in, their collective breath taken, hearts racing. And somewhere, deep within the church, a quiet rustle hinted at the stirring of something profound and sacred. Would this be the moment of divine intervention? The answer shimmered just beyond the grasp of their understanding. The rustling sound grew louder, swirling like a gentle breeze. It reverberated through the church, a symphony of anticipation. Margaret, still caught in her moment of prayer, felt her heart beat in rhythm with the whispers of her fellow villagers. Their eyes glistened with hope, ready to embrace whatever divine message was about to unfold. Look! Elder Thomas suddenly pointed towards the altar, where a soft glow began to gather. It flickered and danced like a candle flame, filling the room with warmth that seemed to wrap around each person, a gentle embrace from the heavens. The villagers held their breaths, eyes widening in awe as the light pulsed softly, like a heartbeat. That glow transformed into a figure, a shape that radiated love and clarity. Margaret's heart raced as she recognized the familiar presence. Is it? She stammered, a sense of familiarity washing over her. The figure stepped forward, illuminating the space further. Fear not. The figure spoke, its voice both powerful and tender, resonating through their souls. I am here to remind you of the truths that lie within your hearts. Your prayers have not gone unheard. The villagers gasped, some kneeling, others raising their hands in wonder. It was as if a veil had been lifted, revealing the sanctity of the moment. You have unlocked the first divine secret. The figure continued, love radiating from each word. Faith is your strength. It binds you, unites you, and opens the gateway of possibilities. A wave of understanding washed through the congregation. Margaret could see the shift in their spirits, the glimmer of encouragement stirring within. This was the affirmation they sought. The figure gestured towards little Lucy. And the second secret. It declared, joy is the essence of faith. Cherish the innocence and wonder of your heart. It opens the door to healing. At that, Lucy giggled, and her laughter filled the church, pure, uninhibited joy that echoed brightly. The villagers, drawn by her laughter, broke into smiles, their doubts ebbing away like shadows in the light. The final secret is trust, the figure continued, a steadfast belief that transcends your understanding. It is the bridge that connects you to the divine. In your trust, miracles will manifest. Margaret's heart surged. Trust, she whispered, letting the word resonate within her. Isn't that what they had all come here for? Their faith, their laughter, their love, all of it stemmed from a profound trust in something greater. But just as the feeling of elation settled, Margaret felt a stir within her spirit. "What does this mean for James?" she suddenly asked, her voice breaking through. "Will he dance again? Will he be healed?" The figure smiled, a knowing and peaceful expression. "Healing is a journey, not a destination. Trust in the process, and you shall witness the miracles unfold." A hush enveloped the room, each soul captured by the weight of this divine promise. They stood there, hearts entwined, an unspoken question hanging in the air. As the light began to fade, leaving only a warm glow of hope, Margaret felt an urgent need to cling to this moment. What next? She thought, trying to capture the understanding before it slipped away. "Embrace your journey together, for it is far from over," echoed the mysterious figure, fading into a shimmer of gentle light, leaving behind a quietly thrumming energy in the atmosphere. The villagers remained still, breaths held, each heart now a beacon of anticipation. And beneath it all lay a question that hung heavier than before. What awaited them at the end of their faith-filled journey? Would they find their answers? The church buzzed with a palpable energy, a mixture of reverence and curiosity. The villagers, still basking in the afterglow of the divine encounter, slowly began to exchange glances filled with questions. "What do we do now?" someone whispered. Margaret felt the weight of that uncertainty settle among them. "We must hold on to what we've learned," Elder Thomas said, his voice steady and unwavering. "Faith, joy, trust, they must guide us as we walk this path." Margaret nodded, feeling the resolve stir within her. It was like a flame reigniting in her chest. But still, a deeper urgency simmered beneath the surface. Just then, Lucy, who was still giggling and dancing, rushed to Margaret's side. The child's joy was infectious, calling forth laughter from others around them. "Will it be like this, Margie? Full of happiness?" Lucy's sparkling eyes searched for assurance. "Yes, dear one. Joy can fill every moment if we let it," Margaret replied, her heart swelling with affection for the innocence in Lucy's belief. As the villagers began to talk amongst themselves, Margaret's gaze drifted toward the altar, where remnants of that heavenly glow lingered like fading mist. The figure's promise echoed in her mind. Perhaps healing was not just about physical restoration, perhaps it was a state of the heart, a place where trust flourished. "Let's gather in a circle," Elder Thomas proposed, urging everyone closer to the altar. "We will pray together, affirming our faith and holding space for healing all of us." Reluctantly, they formed a circle, some still hesitant, but curiosity nudged them closer. Margaret squeezed Lucy's hand, feeling the warmth of connection between them. The gentle light of twilight seeped through stained glass, playing with shadows and colors on their faces. "Dear Lord," Elder Thomas began, his voice filling the room, "we ask for your guidance as we embrace this journey. Instill in us the spirit of trust and the joy that comes from believing in your path." Margaret's heart raced. She closed her eyes, focusing on the warmth of Lucy's hand in hers. She envisioned James, dancing freely, unburdened by the weight of his struggles. It was a beautiful sight, one she clung to like a lifeline. "Help us to trust in our healing," she interjected softly, her sincerity pouring forth. "Let us find strength in one another as we seek the miracles ahead." An echo of amens rippled through the group, and the atmosphere shifted. A soft murmur of faith swirled around them like a cloak weaving warmth and protection. As they finished praying, an unexpected hush fell. The villagers felt an electric pulse in the air, like the gathering of storm clouds, pregnant with possibility. Margaret opened her eyes again, searching the faces around her. She was not alone in her yearning. She could see the reflections of hope etched in their features. "Do you feel that?" a voice broke the silence. It was quite a brave young man, David, with shyness wrapped around his words. "It's like something's waiting to happen." "Yes. A divine wonder," Lucy exclaimed, drawing laughter and warmth from the group once more. What if we are meant to seek our own miracles?" Margaret felt the stirring of a bold idea taking root. What if our collective faith combines to create a force that can truly change our lives? The crowd murmured in agreement, sparks of enthusiasm igniting. Each face lit with a fresh anticipation. Together we can explore this journey. Elder Thomas proclaimed, his voice full of rekindled spirit. Margaret's heart soared in harmony with the collective hope filling the sacred space. Yet, beneath the joy lay an unsettling question: how would they navigate their individual paths amidst this unfolding journey? What challenges awaited them as they embraced their miraculous awakening? As the glow of the day surrendered to the evening, each soul pondered the weight of possibility, each heartbeat a little louder with anticipation. In the stillness that followed, a sacred pause enveloped the villagers. Each person held their breath, waiting for the stirrings of destiny to reveal themselves. The soft glow of twilight danced through the church, illuminating faces that were now aglow with possibility. Margaret felt Lucy's small hand grip hers tighter, as if sharing an unspoken connection that spoke volumes. "What do we do next?" someone asked again, breaking the silence, his voice trembling slightly with enthusiasm and fear. Elder Thomas smiled, sensing the collective yearning. "We embark on this journey as a family," he declared. "Each person will share what they seek. In this act, we plant the seeds of hope." Margaret felt the spark of inspiration flicker within her. "Let us share our visions," she suggested. "What do we wish to see manifest in our lives?" One by one, village voices emerged, timidly at first, then growing bolder with a shared spirit. David stepped forward, his eyes shining. "I want to heal my father's ailing heart," he declared, his voice gathering strength. The crowd responded, murmuring words of support, assured by the community bond forming. A woman near the altar, Martha, spoke next. "I wish for guidance in my business, to feel fulfilled in my work. Freedom from my burdens," called an older man named Peter, his weathered voice filled with urgency. "To embrace my days without the weight of regret." With each desire voiced, Margaret sensed a web of intentions forming, threads weaving together their hopes like an intricate tapestry. It felt electric, as if their dreams coalesced into a living force. "Let us pray for each other," Elder Thomas suggested, uniting the group once again. Their hands connected in a link of compassion, the light within them merging into something vast and beautiful. "Lord," Margaret began once more, her heart opening wide, "look upon our desires, our prayers. Infuse each one with your divine love and purpose. Guide us to understand how to walk our paths together." As their voices united in prayer, Margaret felt a profound warmth enveloping her, as though the very air shimmered with divine presence. It surged through the circle, and she caught sight of Lucy's face shining bright, reflecting the hope that was palpable. Suddenly, a flurry of whispers cascaded around the room. "Do you see the light?" someone asked in awe, pointing at the altar. Indeed, Margaret turned her gaze to the altar and gasped. A soft golden glow emanated from it, a shimmering light that pulsed like a heartbeat. It felt like a beckoning from the heavens, calling them closer to their dreams, to the possibility of miracles. "What is happening?" Lucy whispered, her innocent wonder resonating in the air. "It's our faith," Elder Thomas replied, his voice steady with assurance. "We are witness to the power of collective belief. What once seemed out of reach can come to life." But as all washed over them, Margaret felt yet another twinge of uncertainty. What if we are not ready for what awaits? She murmured softly. The question hung heavy in the air, a thread of doubt mixed with hope. Each person exchanged glances, weighing their courage against the tangible blow before them. At that moment, with hearts wide open, they stood at the threshold of their miraculous awakening. What wisdom awaited them on the other side of their faith? And would they have the courage to embrace what God had in store? As the light flickered, resplendent with possibility, a stirring reverence settled among them. A moment of divine intervention seemed just over the horizon, but what would it reveal to each of their souls? As Margaret stood there, uncertainty knotted in her chest, she felt the atmosphere shift. The air thickened, heavy with possibility. Each gentle pulse of light from the altar seemed to beat in time with the yearning hearts around her, stirring a silent call to action. The village, shrouded in collective faith, was reaching out for a blessing they could almost taste, a miracle waiting to unfurl. "Together we have shared our wishes," Elder Thomas said, his voice carrying the weight of ancient wisdom. "But now, we must open our hearts wider than before. We need to release our fears into the light before us." Margaret could sense the tension in the group. She squeezed Lucy's hand, grounding herself in the innocent joy of the child beside her. What if we let go? She whispered, a thought igniting within her. What if we choose to trust completely? This simple question hovered in the air, shimmering with new possibility. One by one, villagers nodded, exchanging knowing glances, as if each had mirrored Margaret's resolve. Let us each speak aloud our fear, suggested Martha, her voice softer now, but resonant. Let it leave our hearts, and be transformed by the light in front of us. For if this is a sacred moment, we must be honest with ourselves. Margaret felt a stirring as David stepped forward. Eyes downcast, he took a breath. I fear that my father will never be whole again, that I won't have the strength to carry on without him. At once, a wave of compassion rippled through the group. They were not alone in their vulnerabilities, their humanity connected them like threads in a magnificent tapestry, woven together by love and faith. Those fears do not define you, David, Peter encouraged, stepping up beside him. Let them dissolve into the light. You have the strength within you. Let us cast our worries away, shouted another voice, vibrant and fervent. The thoughts resonated, and soon murmurs of agreement rippled through the congregation. Each person who spoke felt lighter, freeing their burdens into that golden glow. Fear, hurt, doubt, all were lifted up to be transformed. As the light pressed closer, it seemed to thrum with energy, pulling everything towards it, urging each soul to step nearer. Margaret felt her apprehensions fade like morning mist. I fear losing my way, leading Lucy without knowing where to go, she confessed. But I choose to trust the path God sets before us. I fear I will never know joy, came a voice from the back. I fear my past will shackle me forever. It was young Samantha, her spirit fragile yet fierce. You can break free, Elder Thomas proclaimed, raising his arms to the radiance. Together, we declare light over darkness, abundance over lack, trust over fear. The air shimmered as a collaborative power surged. Margaret gasped, feeling warmth flood through her very being as their collective faith ignited the altar's glow into a brilliant luminescence. Was this what they had been waiting for? The moment when individual fears transformed into one cohesive act of courage and faith? The glow brightened and swirled, a vortex of holy energy swirling around them. Beneath it, she could feel the pulse of something alive, something sacred urging them forward to the precipice of a new dawn, but just then, the light flickered. An unexpected shiver tugged at her heart as it pulsed like a heartbeat. What lay ahead? What awaited them in the brilliance? Could they truly grasp the depth of transformation waiting just beyond this luminous threshold? A sacred promise, yet the weight of anticipation held them closely. What revelation awaited them on the other side? Would they be prepared to receive it? Margaret stood transfixed, her heart racing as the light pulsated around them. This energy felt alive, dancing with hope and promise. Yet, beneath that shimmering surface lay an unsettling question. What truly awaited them? It was as if the light beckoned them closer, inviting each heart to breathe more deeply into the unknown. One by one, the villagers gathered courage, stepping toward the altar. Their faces lit with determination painted with vulnerability, they surrendered their fears. Margaret felt Lucy grip her hand tighter, a childless innocence matched with a crowd of seeking souls. Trust, Elder Thomas urged gently, his voice caressing their hearts. Trust that this moment is a gift. The light will lead us if we allow it. Let it lead us indeed, shouted Martha, her spirited resolve reverberating among them. She stepped forward with purpose. I fear the world will crush our spirits, leaving us cold and broken. But in this moment, I choose to believe in a new reality. As Martha's words echoed, the light around them seemed to harmonize with her truth. Waves of warmth enveloped those who stood nearby. It was tangible, a gentle embrace fostering connection and understanding. I fear my dreams will forever remain dreams, said Caleb, a voice trembling with resolve. But I choose to release that doubt. I choose the light. With each declaration, more fears dissolved, transforming into sparks of joy. The energy crackled alive, intertwining with their prayers. Margaret could feel an ancient rhythm pulsing near the altar, a sacred heartbeat that mirrored their collective longing. Lucy, wide-eyed, looked up at Margaret. Will it really work, Mom? Do our fears really go away? Margaret smiled softly, tears glistening in her eyes, heart swelling with both love and faith. I believe it will, sweetheart. We are stronger together, wrapped in this light. Their voices intertwined, each fear giving way to newfound courage. The atmosphere thickened, a palpable warmth filled the space, enveloping them all. Together, they chanted words of hope and trust, their spirits rising as they united in purpose. The light, responding to their devotion, began to form shapes, waves of color swirling like a magnificent aurora. Margaret felt dizzy, but it was a sweet, heavenly dizziness, igniting every sense within her, and then, in a moment that stopped time, the light shifted once more. It transformed into ethereal forms. Beautiful figures evolved from the brilliance, gliding gracefully toward the group. A gentle hum enveloped the space. It felt like the very breath of heaven. Gasps filled the air as the villagers exchanged glances of wonder and awe. Could this be a divine manifestation? Were they witnessing something that had only existed in their prayers until now? Do not fear what you see. A voice resonated from the radiant figures. You are seen. You are loved. This is your awakening. A wave of understanding washed over Margaret. In that instant, all her doubts, her worries about leading Lucy, about herself, everything began to vanish. She stood rooted, enveloped in truth, yet, as they basked in this miraculous moment, an unvoiced question lingered. What were these figures saying? What should they do now? And as if sensing their unasked queries, the figures moved closer, extending their arms toward them, guiding them toward the light that felt more inviting than ever. Could they follow? What waited beyond that luminous realm? Would they be able to step into the unknown and embrace it together? Margaret felt her breath catch in her throat. The radiant figures ahead of them seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly glow, their eyes reflecting not just light, but a deep love that reached into the souls of the villagers. She could sense the excitement and trepidation rippling through the group like a wave. Some were ready to plunge forward, while others hesitated at the brink of faith and fear. Take a step, Elder Thomas encouraged softly. You've claimed your courage. Now let the light nurture the dreams you've only whispered in prayer. One by one, the villagers began to move, their feet lifting from solid ground as if the air itself was buoying them toward the figures. Margaret glanced down at Lucy, the child's eyes wide with wonder. In that moment, Margaret realized she was not just leading Lucy, they were guiding each other, weaving back and forth in this tapestry of shared belief. Together, she whispered, reinforcing their bond as they advanced with the others. The instant they crossed the threshold into the light, an overwhelming warmth coursed through her. It was as if every worry she had harbored dissolved, swept away by a current of grace. They were no longer just a group of villagers, they were a family, united in their sacred pursuit, basking in the embrace of divine presence. Just as they reached the center of the luminous expanse, the figures began to speak, their unity cascading down like gentle rain. Your fears have brought you here, one of them said, their voice melodic and soothing. But now, you must choose to let go of the burdens of the past. They have no hold on the future. Margaret could sense an echoing truth in those words. Her own burdens, shadows of insecurity and doubt flickered like distant stars within her. The energy around them pulsated, inviting each heart to let go. Then another figure, radiating compassion, alighted closer. Who among you carries a dream unspoken? They asked, their gaze sweeping over the group. Margaret's heart stirred. Deep down, she longed to vocalize her dreams, the ones that felt too fragile to share. Yet, her fear of judgment lingered, holding her back. Speak. What is your heart's desire? A third figure's voice rang out, affirming each villager's significance in this moment. Caleb stepped forward first, his voice trembling but steady. I dream of a life where we can always share light, where our fears don't limit us. It felt brave and liberating. Others chimed in, their voices intertwining, weaving a melody of hope. Margaret, swept up in the moment, felt a swell inside her. I wish for healing in our community, for every soul to be touched by connection, she said, her voice growing stronger, mingling with a collective wish. The figures shifted as if in reverence. Then, together, offer these dreams into the light. Release them. With newfound bravery, the villagers raised their hands, gilded by the ethereal warmth. They closed their eyes, inhaling deeply. In unison, they released their desires, letting their hopes flutter like doves into the shimmering air. Margaret felt a profound change, the weight of her past tumbling away. As their dreams rose into the light, a rush of energy enveloped them. But alongside that exhilarating warmth, a whisper flickered in Margaret's heart, a chilling thought: what if they were to encounter even greater challenges ahead? In that pulse of anticipation, the luminous aura began to shift once more. Shadows loomed on the horizon, hints of an uncertain path beckoning them to explore further. Would they embrace the trials that lay ahead, even when the light dimmed? What awaited them beyond this awakening? The energy around them crackled with possibility as the shimmering figures began to dissolve, realigning themselves into a new formation. The light grew brighter, its warmth penetrating every heart with a vivid awareness. It whispered promises of transformation, but, more than that, it hinted at the trials to come. Margaret's eyes scanned the faces of her friends and neighbors, seeing hope intermingled with the apprehension that now colored their expressions. The thrill of vulnerability weighed against the heaviness of uncertainty. Together, they had shared a moment of collective dreaming, yet that dream now carried a burden of expectation. "Look!" shouted Lucy, pointing toward a singularly luminous orb, which pulsated gently above them. "It's like a guide." All eyes turned skyward, captivated by the radiance above. Margaret felt an overwhelming urge to reach for that light. It was as if it called out to her, both a beacon and a promise. But what lay in the journey to get there? The light pulsed, echoing her own question as if it had heard her doubts. "Faith isn't the absence of fear," Elder Thomas reminded them, his voice rising above the whispering winds. "It is the courage to step forward, even when the path is hidden." Margaret felt a sense of determination wash over her, pushing back against the fear lurking at the edges of her heart. If they were to grow, to heal as a community, then they would need to embrace every shadow, every uncertainty that came with that trek. One by one, the villagers began to whisper their fears into the air, releasing them like weighty stones cast into a flowing river. They spoke of loss, of separation, and of the aching fatigue that had plagued their spirits. Each fear became a ripple that widened, pushing the darkness further from their hearts. As the last of their burdens floated away, the luminous orb shivered, transforming into a vibrant rainbow of colors that spiraled down in dancing hues. The light wound through the group, wrapping each villager in a cocoon of divine assurance. "God has heard your pleas," the figures responded, their voices harmonizing like a celestial choir. "This is merely the threshold. You stand on sacred ground, confronted by your barriers, soon to be transformed into bridges. Now move with conviction toward the light." Margaret felt her feet shift underneath her, encouraged by the pulsating energy thrumming through her. It was time to move forward. "We must go together," she urged the villagers, her voice rising with certainty. "Each step we take is a step towards breaking the chains of what confines us." The crowd responded, heartbeats synchronizing, bodies moving as one toward their shared goal. As they approached the orb, a wave of dazzling light enveloped them, a colossal embrace that filled their hearts with warmth. Then an unexpected hush fell over the crowd. The orb began to pulse more slowly, and within its glow, flickers of shadow began to unfold, revealing flickering images. Faces they knew, struggles they had witnessed flared brief and bright before fading into the vastness of the light. "What is this?" Caleb whispered, his eyes wide. A soft voice spoke from within the orb, "These are the obstacles ahead, lessons that await your discovery. Remember, my children, true faith is stretched through trials. Embrace them." Margaret's heart raced with a curious mixture of dread and excitement. "Can we truly move through these challenges?" she wondered, feeling a swirl of emotions. "Will we be strong enough?" The villagers turned to one another, a renewed spark of courage igniting in their eyes. Together, they echoed, a chain of resolution binding their hearts. As the orb began to draw them into its depths, the sense of unity was palpable. Yet, lurking in her mind was the lingering question: were they ready for what lay beyond the shimmering barrier? What awaited them as they crossed over into the unknown? And so, they stood on the brink, hearts beating in unity, faces glowing with faith, ready to unlock the next door of divine mystery. The radiant orb pulsed with urgency, each thrum echoing the heartbeat of every soul that stood gathered beneath its luminescent glow. Margaret felt the warmth wash over her like a summer breeze, coaxing her spirit into a state of trust. What lay beyond this light? With hands clasped, the villagers prepared to embrace the unknown. "We shall walk into this together," she declared, her words potent and unwavering. A unanimous energy surged among them. Eyes once clouded with doubt now gleamed with fervent anticipation. They had unlocked a door to transformation, and courage ignited every heart. "Let this light guide us," Elder Thomas encouraged, his voice a gentle beacon as they stepped forward. With trembling hearts, the villagers began to enter the incandescence, a mystical realm where shadows would reveal their truths. As they crossed the threshold, Margaret felt the air shift. It was charged with awakening. Uncountable colors swirled around them, weaving together threads of each prayer and heartfelt wish. It felt alive. It felt holy. Suddenly, images began to emerge from the depths of the orb, a whirlwind of memories, fears, and moments of profound love. The tapestry of their journeys laid bare before them. She saw James, fragile yet laughing, dancing as Lucy had envisioned. Her heart tightened, hoping that this shared light would bring him back to life, yet she understood that healing might appear differently than she expected. Suddenly, a vision flickered, a memory of her own self-doubt, freezing her joy and denying her the chance to fully live. In that moment of clarity, she realized healing began within. "I must let go," she whispered, feeling the weight lift from her shoulders. "I hear it too," Lucy chirped, pointing to a radiant image of their village filled with joyous gatherings. "We can be happy, Margie." Margaret's heart swelled, and she turned toward the gathering warmth. "Yes. Joy is our birthright." Voices rose, echoing with affirmation. The villagers' fears transformed into declarations of hope, swirling into the light. "We will trust the journey," shouted Martha. "We will open our hearts wide," David added with conviction, igniting encouragement throughout the crowd. As more faith-inspired words filled the air, the orb glowed brighter, enveloping them in an embrace of love. Nurtured by their collective will, the hues of light circled until they spun into a brilliant vortex. Margaret felt it lift her spirit, blending their dreams into one magnificent affirmation. The vivid figures returned, standing before them, beacons of grace. "This is your awakening. You stand on the threshold of transformation," they sang in harmonious cadence, each note reinforcing the connections woven through their souls. "Will we have the strength to overcome?" A voice from within the crowd called out, tinged with uncertainty. "Embrace the journey." The figures replied, their eyes shimmering with understanding. "With each challenge you face, you will grow stronger. Your community, your love, will light the way." Each villager took a breath, releasing lingering uncertainty into the sacred space, letting it dissolve like morning fog. They were not alone, they carried one another, and together, they could shine beyond the challenges that awaited. As the orb pulsated with encouragement, Margaret felt a shift in her being. Whatever lay ahead, she and her village were now armed with trust, joy, and a collective will that could shake the very foundations of their existence. The fear that once wrapped around her heart began to dissipate like the morning sun melting away reminiscences of darker nights. One last prayer, she arose, her voice soaring above. "Let us thank our Creator for this moment. Let us acknowledge the journey ahead, holding tight to our faith and to one another." United as one family, the villagers put their hands together and began to pray, hearts swelling with gratitude. The closing crescendo of their voices intertwined, forming a living tapestry of faith, enveloped in the warmth of divine assurance. In that profound moment, as the last echoes of their collective prayer resonated in the air, the visionary light shifted, revealing breathtaking landscapes of color and possibility. They had unlocked their miraculous awakening, a reality richer than they could have ever imagined. The path now lay before them, yet hearts were buoyed with confidence, eyes shimmering with hope. "Together, we are unstoppable," Margaret declared, as they turned to face the expansive realm of wonder awaiting their brave hearts. And as one, the villagers took a step forward, ready to embrace the miracles that awaited them, stepping into their divine destiny, hand in hand. And now, dear friends, if you felt moved by this story of awakening and faith, you need to subscribe now to our channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help others find this light. Comment your reactions and testimonies about the ending below, and don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of hope and love. Only true servants of God understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let us shine together.